You want to like them, but you can't.
Are you listening?
What?
Are you listening?
Did you bring me on this show to insult me?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Hey, y'all don't want it with us, man. We straight gangsters over here.
Straight
man.
gangsters.
Ah.
Yeah, good morning. You are listening to the Scout Team. It is Wednesday, October 31st. That means it's Halloween, and we are excited to be on the airwaves. I am one of your gracious hosts. They call me Loudbeard.
You are the most egotistical, self-deluded person I have ever met.
And the man on the other microphone is the great patriot himself. He's dressed up like a Russian spy today, and that would be...
Yeah, it's your boy Chris America coming to you live this creepy, spooky, and fantastic Halloween. Ladbeard, there's no better day than a hump day in Halloween. I love it. I'm excited. I'm big into the spirit of Halloween. It's probably starting to become my first favorite holiday. Christmas is still in the lead. Yeah, it's around there, though.
Oh, I love Halloween, man. It's just a fun time of year. It brings in fall. You get all the pumpkin patches and the costumes and the horror movies and just everything that goes along with Halloween. I believe Halloween is my favorite holiday, Chris America. Christmas is always going to hold a special place in my heart. New Year's is a lot of fun. 4th of July is a good time because it's America, you know. But when I look at it, I would have to say that Halloween has got to be up there as my number one holiday. What do you think?
Yeah, like I said, it's always been there. It's fun for the kids. It's fun for adults. You can go to different adult parties. You can go to kid parties. It's great. You can hand out, candy while drinking alcohol, and it's perfectly appropriate.
Okay. I see what you're doing there. You're trying to get the kids with the alcohol and the candy. Okay, we're not going to go there this morning, Chris America. Whatever
Wow.
whatever skeletons you have in your closet, let's go ahead and keep them in there. Let's keep them locked up. Let's not break them out on the radio this morning because we are live on 12-ounce Sports Radio each and every weekday, Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. and again at 11 a.m. And we love being on here because we are the Scout Team. You're Chris America. I'm Loudbeard, and we're bringing it hot. So for this beautiful Halloween morning, Chris America, what are we going to talk about?
Well, we had some nightmare trades for some teams, some great trades for other teams. We also had a reinstatement of DJ Durkin, former Gator coach at Maryland, which kind of surprised me, to be honest with you. But we'll talk more into that. And we have a Halloween horror movie villain draft. We're going to move the draft over from Fridays. Although, Loudbeard, you didn't post last week's draft.
No, I just ran out of time in the morning after uploading the episode and then putting it on our podcast site. I ran out of time. I meant to maybe text it to you to see if you could do it. But, it just didn't happen. So everybody's got to listen live sometimes. Listening live or catching the podcast, you get the real deal. But, yeah, last week it caught up to me, and I was on my way to work, and I'm like, I just didn't get time to do that.
I think this Friday we just repost it. We just post those things, and we'll just do it all over again. We won't do it all over on the show, but we'll just post it on Friday since we're moving the draft to today.
That works. Now, do you want to post today's draft Friday or last Friday's draft on this Friday and post
last Friday's
today?
draft on this draft and today's today?
All right. So you want to put last week's on today's and today's on tomorrow's and tomorrow's on yesterday's and tomorrow's yesterday's on Thursdays. Okay, I got
Actually,
you.
I
So
want you to
I'm
post
clear.
The draft, the Christmas draft. I want you to post today. The one that
Yes.
we're gonna have before Christmas.
Yes. So that one's going to be, what was your favorite Elf musical?
Yes.
Is it? I don't know any Elf musicals, so that one's
I
going to
didn't
be
even know
tough.
there were elf people.
Neither did I. I just, on the fly, sometimes with live radio, you come up with stupid stuff and you just say it. And once your mouth starts saying something, you just can't stop yourself because it's already out there. And then you come back
can't
and you
unring
say,
bells.
Yeah, that's also an Elf musical. You can't unring
Can't
bells.
unring bells.
That's your winner right there. That's your Reese's cup. That's your Tim Couch.
Tim Couch.
All right, so you
So
wanted
where do
to
we
talk
wanna
about
start?
trade deadlines, man. Let's get into these trade deadlines because the news was coming out fast and furiously yesterday afternoon. After we got off the airwaves, we talked a little bit about trade deadlines, and there were the rumors that were swirling around. I heard rumors that New England might be a player in the game, but it didn't look like they ever came up with anything. They weren't out there. But it seemed like Green Bay was one of the big-time players in the trade market, and they weren't buyers. They were sellers, Chris America. And I would say that was probably the biggest surprise to me because I felt like Green Bay should be a buyer. They're competitive. They should be ready to make a move, to make a playoff push, and trading away some of their best players. I don't know if that's the best way to address their trade deadline. If I was the Green Bay Packers GM, if I was a Green Bay Packers fan, I'd be ready to jump off a cliff right now. Luckily, I am not a Green Bay Packers fan, so I'm safe. Everybody, no worries. Loudbeard will make it another day because I am no longer I was never a Green Bay Packers fan. But I am a Washington Redskins fan, and Green Bay did us a huge solid, and I appreciate that. I'm giving them an air fist bump right now to all the fans over in Green Bay. Thank you for sending your Pro Bowl safety, Clinton Dix, over to my Washington Redskins. That was my move of the day. Washington welcoming Clinton Dix with open arms. I love this move. What was Green Bay thinking, Chris America?
I don't know. And they weren't the only team in their division to make a move. The Detroit Lions also moved their best skill player in Golden Tate. And it just seemed like both teams were packing it in when they're both within a game of the division leader, the Minnesota Vikings. This is one of the closest divisional races in the entire NFL. And these two teams made moves that made you feel like they're 1-5 and they're just packing it in for the future. Did it not feel that way?
It did. It did. I mean, Detroit is on the fringe. Now, they are in a tough division, and they've got a lot of competition, but do you really want to just say, okay, this is our best offensive weapon, we're not going to be competitive moving forward? Or do you feel like there's other guys on the team that can step up into that place? And I think that was the idea in Green Bay is they've got young guys that they feel can step up, and so they're not going to have too much of a drop-off. But it's not a good look for your fans, and it isn't really showing the world that, hey, I want to be competitive. I want to stay up in this division. The NFC this year is really competitive. There's a lot of great teams. The NFC South right now, you can't even – I mean, there's not a bad team in the NFC South unless you include the Bucs. Okay, there is one bad team in the NFC South. But the Panthers, the Falcons, the Saints, all are going to be competitive. In the NFC East, the Eagles were the Super Bowl champions. You can't count them out yet. The Redskins are leading the division. The Cowboys, they could sneak in. So, look, that's 6 teams right there, and we haven't even gotten to the NFC North where you have the Packers and the Vikings and the Bears who are competitive.
Right,
So
I gotta make that correction for the Bears fans. Don't hate me. I just thought it was Minnesota because I saw 4-3, but the Chicago Bears are the division leaders. I said it was the Vikings. I don't want to make those fans mad at me. Chicago Bears are the division leaders.
Yeah, the Bears are having a much better season than I thought they would. When you look at it, you probably thought the Vikings were because everybody thought the Vikings were going to be more competitive than they've been. But when you look at all these teams, Detroit needs to stay competitive. Green Bay needs to stay competitive. There are probably 10 teams right now that are vying for 6 playoff spots in the NFC, and I don't know that either Detroit or Green Bay has shown anybody that they want to be those top 6 teams. Now, because of Aaron Rodgers, yeah, we all know that Green Bay is always going to have an opportunity. And the other move that Green Bay made, which to me is still a head-scratcher, they got rid of Ty Montgomery. We talked about this a little bit yesterday. One fumble, one poor decision, and the next day the guy gets traded. What is the deal with this? Did you think this was a good idea just to get rid of this guy because he was becoming a cancer for Green Bay because the whole team was hating him because he made one bad decision? Or do you think this is a stupid knee-jerk reaction, Chris America?
This is the most bizarre story I've ever heard in my sports fan life. I've never heard of a player becoming such a pariah to a team and a fan base because of a regular season fumble that cost them a game that didn't eliminate them from the playoffs. It didn't, hurt their chances of winning a Super Bowl. It was just one play, one stupid decision, and it makes no sense. Now, I don't know if this went into their decision of trading him. There's no knowing if, unless the GM comes out and says, yes, we traded him for this reason, there's really no way of knowing if they would have traded Ty Montgomery to begin with. Now, you just traded your best running back on a team that has no running backs, and he wasn't even a running back. He was a wide receiver.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about this running back situation in Green Bay for a long time. They obviously do not care who is their running back. Now, they have Aaron Jones back there, and I know you're going to say, who? Yeah, that's right. We don't know who their running back is because they don't care. They're always taking these 7th-round draft picks or undrafted guys, sticking them back there and saying, hey, guess what? You got Aaron Rodgers. It doesn't matter what kind of running back we got. Just when we hand the ball off to you 3 or 4 times each game, try to make a yard. That's all we care for our running backs, and that's all they do. It's so predictable, and it's so uncompetitive. The league is starting to shift back to where the running back is becoming more emphasized. Yes, it was de-emphasized over the last 5 or 6 years. It's becoming more emphasized, and Green Bay is not staying up. The last 2 to 3 drafts, I'm sitting there thinking, draft a running back, draft a running back. Nope, can't do it. They are not addressing their needs, and now they're trading away a good running back / receiver, a guy that can catch the ball out of the backfield, a guy that can go in the slot. This guy, he was returning kicks. Obviously, you have confidence that he can return kickoffs. This guy is a talented player. He is not a Pro Bowler. He is not the greatest of all time. He is still a talented NFL player. And just to kick him off because of that play, and honestly, who knows? I mean, they're acting like Aaron Rodgers was guaranteed to make a comeback and get them into field goal position, and that Mason Crosby was guaranteed to make a kick, or that Aaron Rodgers was guaranteed to throw the ball in the end zone. They weren't even winning at that point. It was like Green Bay basically said, you lost us the game, Ty Montgomery. They were losing. They would have had to drive all the way down the field in a short amount of time, which Aaron Rodgers is good at, but it's no guarantee. So I'm with you. I don't understand why this guy basically became just the most hated guy in all of Green Bay, all of Wisconsin for that matter, over one play. I mean, for him, he's got to be grateful. I'd be like, you know what? You guys are psychotic over here in Green Bay. I'm out. I'm starting over. Clean slate. Let me move on. He's going over to the Baltimore Ravens. He's probably going to get some good playing time. I'm excited for him. I just think you're right. This is the most bizarre trade deadline story that I've ever seen.
Yeah, one move that wasn't bizarre yesterday was the Rams going out, being the undefeated team, and playing for this year. They traded a 3rd and a 5th for my boy. Now his name escapes me. Why does this always happen to me, Loudbeard, every single morning?
Your boy?
From the Jaguars.
Dante Fowler Jr.?
Dante Fowler Jr., there it is. I had his face. I had everything. I was ready to go. I need to start writing stuff down. Yeah, Dante Fowler, and it seems like the downward spirals Jacksonville Jaguars, they gave up. They're just done. They're ready for next year, which is kind of surprising. I feel like they should have made moves for the offensive line. They should have made moves for, I don't know what they need, a wide receiver or something. Maybe they could have gotten Ty Montgomery from the Green Bay Packers, or Golden Tate from the Detroit Lions. Maybe they should have sent over some picks for that to help out this downward spiraling team that made it to the AFC Championship game. But they didn't. They sent Dante Fowler Jr. to the undefeated Rams, a defense that's already loaded and stacked with talent. And now they add not really like the best defensive player, but a solid defensive player, a guy that can come in and fill in for all those other guys, a fresh body, fresh legs. And the Rams got just that much better yesterday.
Yeah, I don't know. This move was a little perplexing at first, and then as I dug into it a little bit more, I mean, Fowler wasn't getting a ton of playing time with Jacksonville. He was kind of sharing snaps with some of the other defensive ends over there in Jacksonville, so there was room for them to move on from him. But the Rams, I mean, this is an arms race. They're like, you know what? We haven't lost yet. We think we're the best team in the NFL, but just in case. There's one small weakness, and that we need a little bit more pass rush on the edge. We have it coming up the middle with Aaron Donald and Ndamukong Suh, but we need a little bit more of an edge rush. Let's go out and get another guy. And this is another one of those situations where a team, because they have Jared Goff on the rookie contract, they don't care so much about how much they're paying other guys. It's these other teams that have all these high-priced quarterbacks that aren't making these big splashy moves because they really can't afford to. But a team, because they're paying, Jared Goff, I don't even know what his salary is, but it's probably a 20th of what Aaron Rodgers is, or maybe a 30th. So when you look at that, you're able to say, okay, as an organization, while we still have him on a rookie contract, let's go all in. Let's see if we can make this the year. And they did. They went all in on Dante Fowler, and they've brought in a lot of great pieces, and that's a scary defense. It's a scary offense. Now it's almost like whatever little weaknesses they had, they addressed it in the trade deadline. So great move for the Rams. And I'm just saying, if the Rams win the Super Bowl this year, how do you think the city of St. Louis is going to be feeling?
Well, first off, I want to answer your question. Right now, Jared Goff is making $7.5 million for this year.
That was more than I thought, actually. I thought it was less. But, okay.
Well,
that's pretty
that's
good.
less than what a lot of backup quarterbacks make. So that's actually really good. And it's way less than what the Cardinals are paying my boy Sam Bradford. So there's a win there. You always want to come out ahead of what other teams are paying Sam Bradford if your quarterback is 10 times better than him.
Yeah, that's true. And you use Sam Bradford as an example. We all know that Sam Bradford is the all-time fraudiest quarterback of just the history of the NFL. Gets paid for doing nothing. So I'm going to have to say to you, bad comparison, because if you ever measure any other quarterback to Sam Bradford, obviously they're going to be better.
No, I'm saying if you measure how much less you're paying them than Sam Bradford and they're 20 times better, you're doing okay in life.
He's the ultimate fraudster.
I know. I don't know why he hasn't been arrested yet for robbing all these teams, impersonating a. If I were to go to house, doing like medical checks, pretending to be a doctor, I would be arrested for impersonating a doctor. Yet this guy can go team to team, impersonating a quarterback and getting paid for it, and he's still somehow out free on the lam, not arrested, no warrants, nothing.
Yeah. Somebody needs to put out an APB. We got Sam Bradford is on the loose, and he's just stealing money from all the fans. Think of all those fans that have gone and they've spent all this money on tickets over the years, and they get to see that guy as their quarterback, or they get to see him wearing sweats on the sideline because the team realizes he's not any good, and it's just not even, worth paying this guy. Playing this guy. He's not worth it at all. So, anyway, that we digress. We definitely digress, because if this became into a Sam Bradford just hate fest, we could talk for hours, and we don't want that. This is Halloween. We don't want the hate. We want the love. Halloween is known as a lover's holiday.
This is scary stuff. Guys coming to your door, impersonating to be somebody else, and you losing your money. That's a real deal. Identity theft is a real thing, Jim.
It is, Jim.
You don't get the reference. You need to watch more Office.
Yeah. I like Jim. The Office is a good show, though.
Yeah.
Just saying that. It's a really good show.
All right. So, any other
trade? Go for it.
No, I don't. My Panthers stayed quiet. That's usually their MO. They don't really make any splashy moves, whether it's in free agency, the draft, or trade deadlines. The Carolina Panthers are not known for doing anything that's newsworthy. So, kind of a yawning day for me. I just got to sit back and watch all the other fan bases react to their trades. And I think we covered the three big ones, the Lions, the Packers, and the Rams. Oh, my.
Well, there was a couple other moves, and I just got to throw these out here because I feel like these are going to have some implications in the NFL world. One, Demaryius Thomas moving over to the Houston Texans.
That's right, I forgot.
So Demaryius Thomas, great wide receiver over the years for Denver. He's at that age 30 for wide receivers where, all of a sudden you say, okay, you're at 30. But with wide receivers, they're not like running backs. They usually can be relevant to age 33, 34. They can still make a difference. So that's not, to me, a bad thing. And they got him on the cheap. I think he was like a 4th or 5th round pick and then a swap of a 7th, something like that. I have to look at the details. I'm not even really worried about the details, though. What I'm really worried about is, the Broncos are already kind of in sell mode. And then the Texans, they have Will Fuller, their dynamic young wide receiver. He goes out and he gets his torn ACL. He's out for the year. And the Texans are not throwing in the towel. They're in win-now mode. They are on a winning streak. I think Deshaun Watson's finally getting hot. He's starting to build chemistry. Him losing a wide receiver could possibly hurt them, especially now that other teams can focus on DeAndre Hopkins. So the Texans say, you know what? Let's bring in another guy. Let's bring in a guy that can make a difference. And this is a huge move for the Texans, and I love it. I absolutely love this move for the Texans. I think this was them showing their fan base, like, we're all in it. We may have started out 0-3, but we are hot now, and we are ready to show you that we're going to make a run for it. And I love this Demaryius Thomas move, one of my favorite moves of the day, and I gotta give them some love. And my second favorite move of the day would be the Giants not doing anything. I think they had an opportunity to sell, do a fire sale. They should have just gone either all in on a quarterback just to help take them out of their misery, or if they're ready to get the number 1 draft pick in the league, you start giving away some of your pieces. Landon Collins was rumored to be on the trade block. Janoris Jenkins, probably 2 of their best defensive players, both out there on the trade block. No moves are made for either of those guys. They could have picked up some draft picks, gotten in some future assets for this team. They don't do anything. Eli, it was reported earlier in the week that he would not waive his no-trade clause because he loves being in New York and he wants to stay there. I mean, the Giants are a total train wreck, and the fact that they didn't do anything trade deadline day just shows me this organization has no idea what they're doing, has no idea where they want to go, and you know what? I love it, especially being a Redskins fan, seeing an NFC East opponent that is total shambles right now. Yeah, it's fun. It's exciting. I got my popcorn ready. I'm throwing it back. It's great to see.
Yeah, no, it is great, and I want to go back to the John Elway trade with the Houston Texans. He got a 4th rounder, and then they swapped 7th round picks. It kind of seems like they got nothing for Thomas. Not that Thomas is a star wide receiver that you need to spend a lot for, but is John Elway the Gene Chizik of GMs or presidents or whatever position he is? Like, I feel like he just brought in a ringer at quarterback. It won him a Super Bowl, but anything before and after that move, he's done nothing for the Broncos. His draft picks for quarterbacks have been awful. So you get a draft pick in the 4th round, and if he's going to use that on a quarterback, don't count on it being a good pick. Why is he one of the most overrated personalities in sports right now?
You talk about the ringer, bringing in the ringer. He gets a pass because he won a Super Bowl. They actually went to 2 Super Bowls with Peyton Manning. Won 1, lost 1. They didn't just lose. They got routed. They went to a Super Bowl. I didn't want to talk about the details of that Super Bowl. I don't know. I remember sitting there watching that Super Bowl with my jaw on the floor, like, what am I watching? Is this bad? Peyton Manning? Anyway, moving with that, I would say that John Elway, he gets a pass in my book. I actually like the move of him bringing Case Keenum over in the offseason. I think Case Keenum was an underrated move for them. They have been absolutely awful at the quarterback position ever since Peyton Manning left, and he has made bad move after bad move after bad move. And Case Keenum is probably not the long-term solution for them, but I didn't mind that move so much. I don't love this trade. I think they could have got more for him. I know on Twitter a lot of the feedback was the Cowboys got Amari Cooper for a 1st-round pick, and the Texans end up getting Demaryius Thomas for a 4th-round pick. I would say that the value there, Demaryius Thomas's value, even though he's not as good or as young as Amari Cooper, I would say for a 4th-round pick, that is a great deal for the Texans, where when you look at the Cowboys, when they got Amari Cooper for a 1st-round pick, you're giving away your future for a guy that, I don't know if he's going to be a game changer in the NFL. Yeah. So
And we
I
talked
would
about that when that trade went down too. And you're right; it was a terrible value trade for the Cowboys, and this is a great value for the Texans. I mean,
Right. It's just amazing the contrast in values there.
Yeah.
You have to look at that and say, why do these things happen in the NFL?
Before we talked about it, we kind of compared it to Josh Gordon because that was really the only big-time receiver trade that we had this season to compare it to. But you're right, this is a much better comparison, and the Texans look better than what the Cowboys do. Jerry Jones got beat again.
He did get beat again, and Golden Tate is also a great wide receiver that got traded, and his value wasn't exactly. I mean, I would prefer to have Golden Tate over Amari Cooper, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
and
same
the
here.
Eagles got a ton of value in getting Golden Tate, and they did it for a third-round pick.
Yeah.
So I think
There's
they
so
got
much
a
more you
better
can do with
receiver.
Golden Tate, like the skill position that he plays. He's not just a receiver. He's that guy you can, motion into the backfield and take the ball. He's a guy that you can, move all over the field and run the different routes and play the different positions. It's a Swiss Army knife, basically. I mean, he's not. I wouldn't put him as like the top wide receiver, but compared to Amari Cooper and what Amari Cooper brings you and what Golden Tate brings you, you're right. I would much rather have Golden Tate.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know why you want it. I mean, it just makes too much sense, I think, is the problem.
Well, Loudbeer, we're 4 minutes to the break. I don't think we're going to talk too much about this Maryland thing, but we need to go over it. I still need to read up on it. I don't know if they've released their investigation, if they, what their reasoning was for bringing him back. I said I was kind of surprised. Normally when they take this long and they came out with an apology and we're sorry and they basically fell on the sword for what happened, the Maryland president did earlier this summer. I was kind of surprised they kept him, but I guess as the time went on, you felt like maybe they were going to keep him because if they were going to fire him, they usually make that decision a lot sooner. What was your thought when you heard the news that they were keeping DJ Durkin?
My thought is, man, why is this happening? I feel like we've put so much emphasis on so many other things in the NFL, and this is a situation where a young man loses his life. And I'm sorry, I don't care what the circumstances are. Yes, somebody needs to take responsibility for this. And, I mean, whether or not it's a fall guy or what, I don't know what needs to happen. But there was the reports of the toxic culture over in Maryland. Whether or not that was true or not, you take the facts of you're hearing these rumors that there's a toxic culture, and you're hearing and you know that there is a young man that lost his life because of situations that happened there. And you look at that and you put it together and you say, just clean house, clear it up, move on, and that would be the right thing to do. Because if I was the family of this young man, if I was a parent, if my child, if this happened to them and the university basically gave a slap on the wrist to the people responsible for the death of my child, I would lose my mind. And I look at this, and the family is not very happy about this decision in Maryland. And I personally, I think it's terrible. I think it's a bad look. I think we spent so much time talking about the domestic violence over in Ohio State, but I don't think that's a serious issue. This one, somebody lost their life. They're not coming back. This should have been a bigger issue, a more serious issue. There should have been more gone to it, and I don't like it. I just don't like this look for the NCAA. I don't like the look for Maryland. I don't like the look for any of it. It doesn't sit right. And again, I don't have the full investigation. I don't have the 973-page report sitting in front of me that I can go through
But you'll go
and get
over
all
it
the
this
details.
morning, right? You'll go page by
on
page.
the commercial break. I'll be reading all of it. But
Okay, good.
The eye test, the smell test, all of that, I look at it and it doesn't smell right. It doesn't look right. It doesn't feel right. I don't like it.
I think the constant with these coaches have been over the years, whether it's Rick Pitino over at, Louisville, whether it's all of these coaches and in the FBI investigation with the basketball scandals, whether it's Urban Meyer or now it's DJ Durkin, the constant you hear is the coaches saying, well, I don't know. It was just a rogue assistant. What am I supposed to do? I can't help everybody. Like, what am I supposed to be doing? And I'm kind of over that excuse, Loudbeard. I get it. Yes, it's hard to keep track, but you need to do your due diligence of hiring these people. You need to be involved in their families' lives, their lives. You need to know who these people are, what they're into. You kind of get a sense. Now, granted, sometimes you can know a person as much as you can know them, and they're still going to shock you. I know I've had coworkers. I've never had a close friend this happened to, but I've had coworkers where I knew them. I thought I knew them. I go to work with them every day. I see them every day, and then they get arrested for something crazy. I see them on the news, and I'm just like, flabbergasted by it. But when you're the head coach, I feel like now I'm so tired of that excuse of I just didn't know, Your Honor. I was over here doing this, and he was over here doing that, and I had no clue. It's kind of like we're giving these coaches that out every single time, and that's all the coaches are going to do is they're going to see these guys just continuously, get away with what they're doing, and they're going to say, well, that's what I'll do. I'll just have my assistants do the shady work for me, and then when they get caught, I'll just say I didn't know. And that's kind of the deal with the coaches is if I'm a head coach and you're an assistant coach trying to move up in the rankings, I'll tell you, look, you got to do this shady work, and if you do this shady work for me, I'll put in a good word for you at the next job. If you want to go be an offensive coordinator, I'll be the first one behind in your corner saying, yeah, this guy's a good offensive mind. Now go take care of that Adidas contract. Go take care of those strippers, or run these kids into the ground so I can have a better football team.
And on that note, I just have to say we are going to come back with a great Halloween best horror movie villain draft. And I just want to know if Urban Meyer should make Chris America's top 5.
Hey everybody, it's your favorite Patriot, Chris America, and I want you to listen every single weekday, Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., and on replays from 11 a.m. to noon of Scout Team Sports. Listen, George Washington did not cross over the ocean blue in 1492 to defeat the Nazis, so you can listen to the same tired national clickbait sports stories. So once again, tune in to us every single morning, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., and then we replay from 11 to noon. I will see you there, and God bless America. Hey, business owners and leaders, this is Chris America with an exciting message for you. Right now, just like you are, 50% of Americans are listening to live streaming internet radio, with that number growing every single year. We're excited to announce that 12-Ounce Sports Radio is also growing with that. With that said, we'd like you to come in at an opportune time to advertise your business on our station at a competitive rate. We have live daily shows streaming across all over America and the entire world, reaching out to the audience and connecting with them the way that your business needs to. If you're interested, go ahead and contact us by going to 12ouncesportsradio.com. That's 12OZ sportsradio.com. Click the Contact Us page and go ahead and send out your information to us. We're excited to get right back to you and get your business rolling on 12ouncesportsradio.com. Hope you have a great day.
Are you a sports fan? Do you follow the sporting news? Okay, then tell me, who won swimming national championships this year? Oh, you don't know that? How about gymnastics? Do you know who's ranked number 1 in the PGA Tour? How about who won the last major in tennis? Are there some sporting news that you're not getting? Check us out at A Sip of Sports on 12-Ounce Sports, and you will get to know all the sporting news, all in less than 30 minutes.
Welcome back. You are listening to the Scout Team on this beautiful Wednesday morning. And once again, it is All Hallows Eve, and we're excited to be on 12-Ounce Sports Radio this morning. Or if you are listening back on the podcast, you can check out all of our podcasts on Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, or anywhere you can find a podcast. The Scout Team is there for you. We're bringing it hot to you. We call our show Scout Team Sports because we like talking about sports, but we also talk about plenty of other things because we are the greatest entertainment sports radio show in all of the interweb. On 12 Ounce Sports Radio today, this evening, there is a special show. We call it Scout Team After Dark. Comes on every 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Wednesday evenings, every week. And this is one of our favorite times of the week. This is our original show before we went to weekdays, before we were every morning, before we were daily. We were doing the Wednesday night show. So the Wednesday night show has a special place in our heart. And tonight is an extra special show. It could be a special Halloween episode. Last year, we had an amazing Halloween special for all of our listeners. This year, we brought it bigger, badder, better, and beardier than ever. And we expect everybody listening this morning, everybody listening to the podcasts, everybody out there in Radio Land to listen to our Halloween special coming on tonight. It is going to be electric. Right, Chris America?
Yeah,
No.
it's going to be
No.
electric.
I wasn't
Wasn't
sure
ready.
if you were back or yet. I
Yeah.
wasn't sure if you were ready.
No,
I
I was here. I
"Yeah."
just didn't realize my mic was off.
Ah.
As always, per the usual.
I need to get a sound drop for every time you don't turn the mic on. I don't have anything queued up yet, but wait, see. Your microphone, Chris America.
60% of the time, it works every time.
Okay, that works. I'll take that one. Every time you do that, you get that sound drop.
Yes.
But with that being said, every Friday, we usually do a fantasy draft where we just pick randomness and we put it out there for our fantasy teams. But this week, we're going Halloween special style, and we're doing our favorite / the best horror movie villains of all time. We each pick 5, and we're going to have some fun with it on this beautiful Halloween morning. So, Chris America, I don't remember who goes first. You call it. Heads or tails?
I go first because I picked Lawrence Taylor in last Friday's draft that's going to post this Friday. So you go first.
Oh, I go first?
Yeah.
Oh, man. This is one that there isn't like a clear-cut number one. And I'm going to go somebody that probably I like more than the other people would like, but I don't care because I'm going to have fun with this. And that would be Jigsaw. I am a huge fan of the Saw movies. I love Jigsaw. I think he is one of the best villains of all time. I got to go with my number one, Jigsaw.
Wow, that kind of threw me for a loop because I got to tell you, Loudbeard, I'm going to let you know right now, he would have been available for you later on in the draft.
I don't care. I'm just putting my heart out there.
There you go. I appreciate that. So I appreciate you giving me my number one pick, Freddy Krueger. It's a slam dunk. I know everybody hates me for picking safe picks and everything, but I'm here to win, Loudbeard. I'm not here to take knees. I'm not here to hand out candy to Loudbeard so he can win one. I'm here to win.
No, you basically just do the safety dance every morning. You wake up and you jump
That's right.
around your apartment like the
You
short
can dance
person.
if you want to.
Is that politically correct?
You can leave your friend behind.
Because friends don't dance, and if they don't dance in there.
They're no friends of mine, Loudbeard. So I'm picking Freddy Krueger. Probably one of, if you think of 80s horror, you think of Freddy Krueger. There's just no doubt about it.
So I've got 3. Oh wait, no, yeah, 3 sitting here. So I'll pick one, you'll pick one, and then I'll get one on the next turnaround here. So I'm gonna go a little bit safer with you. I'm gonna do the safety dance myself. I'm gonna go Jason Voorhees. Got to go Jason.
You got to.
Yeah, because I went a little less safe with my first pick. I'm gonna go a little more safety dance with my second pick. Go with your second pick, sir.
Okay, so I feel like all my next few picks are pretty safe picks. So I have to go with the safest of safe. I got to go with the one that's still popular today. He won't die. This is a bad guy that won't die. I don't think to be honest with you, I've never seen any of these movies. It sounds terrible, I know, but I've never seen a single Halloween movie. I keep meaning to, but I never get around to watching them. It's of course Michael Myers. You got to go with Michael Myers, another iconic horror movie villain, and I think those are the three big ones. The three big ones are Freddy, Jason, and Mike Myers. So no surprise there that they're all taken within the first two picks.
Yes, that there is no surprises there. I guess Jigsaw was my big surprise for you.
Huge surprise.
Yeah,
It's very puzzling. It's very puzzling that you picked that.
Did it? All right,
Where's
so
I want my Kawhi laugh. Damn it!
You do want your Kawhi laugh. So I'm going to have to go with the third pick in the horror movie villain draft. I'm going to go with Leatherface.
Okay.
We're going Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Leatherface. To me, he's iconic. He's when you talk about the top echelon of quarterbacks and you go Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees, and Tom Brady, and that, I think that after Freddy Krueger, Michael Myers, and Jason Voorhees, that next tier, Leatherface has to be right there on that edge. He's like the Phillip Rivers of villains. That next tier.
Okay, so we've gone through mostly slasher films. You did pick a serial killing psychological thriller, but it still put it more in the slasher film-esque type realm. It's not really, but it's closer to that than what movie I'm going to go with. My first non-slasher horror movie that I watched, or non-ghost related or poltergeist related movie, was Silence of the Lambs, and it was terrifying. When I watch horror movies, I do generally like these types of horror movies better than any other kind because I like to have the reality of it. I like knowing that this could actually happen to me. I don't think some kid that died at camp or some nightmarish guy could kill me in my sleep. I don't believe that any of that can happen to me. But Hannibal Lecter is a very real character. He is somebody that actually exists somewhere out there in the world. Maybe not Hannibal Lecter himself, but there are people who are just like him. So Hannibal Lecter is my third pick.
Okay, that's a good pick. I actually did not have him on my radar, and he would have been there till the end. But I'm looking at that, and I'm telling you that has got to be a good pick. That just I don't know how I missed it.
Now that you told me you missed it, now I wish I would have made my other pick that I was going back and forth on. So I hope you don't pick my next one.
So the next one, I'm going to have to go. This one became a little bit more mainstream when the movie was re-released this year. People love clowns. They love to be afraid of clowns, and this is one of the scariest clowns of all times. And I'm going to have to go with Pennywise.
That was who I was looking at, too. I was going back and forth. Pennywise or Hannibal? Pennywise or Hannibal? And I was like, let me get Hannibal is a very popular character. Let me get him in there. But I think Pennywise, because he's the clown, that adds the extra horror to that. So
it does.
Call there.
Yeah, I like that one.
Now we're getting a little into the nitty-gritty. We're getting kind of into the hokey, the ones that aren't that mainstream. And I'm going to go with a little bit of a wild card here. I'm going to go with Jack Torrance from The Shining.
Okay, I see where you're going with this.
Here's Johnny.
Yep, here's Johnny. The Jack. It should be here's Jackie.
Is that what it was?
No, but it should have been because his name is Jack Torrance.
Yeah, should have been.
All right. So I have two people in mind for my last pick. I have a couple more on my list, but I like to go off the rails. I did the Circus Peanuts the one day, and that brought in a lot of attention. Jigsaw's a little bit off the radar. So I got two here. I can't pick between the two of them, Chris America. You would have neither of these probably on your list. One of them, people are going to be like, who's that? But then if you knew what movie it was from, I think I'm going to put a little asterisk and put the movie next to the name just so people know, so I can get a little bit of extra love.
I was kind of worried about that with Jack Torrance.
Okay, maybe I'll put a little asterisk next to yours too. But this gentleman's name was Josef Heiter. I
Okay.
don't know if you remember him or not. He was the
No.
doctor that liked to sew people's faces to their anuses in the movie Human Centipede.
Oh my god.
That's my 5th pick in this draft.
I didn't know who that was because I absolutely refused to watch that movie.
And can we go with 6 picks here? Because I got a really good 6th one that I want to add to. But
Okay, we can. So
All
I'll go with Chucky with my 5th pick. Chucky was
okay. So
Chucky-
John Gruden, that's kind of scary. Oakland Raider fans
Stop
will,
it.
will vote for you. You're going with the Oakland Raider vote. Everybody
Yes.
thinks Chucky is the scariest
He's
villain
the
on
scariest
all of,
villain. He's
of
the scariest
Oakland.
villain in Oakland right now.
He's the scariest one.
That's
all
too
right.
funny. I didn't
We
even
we
think
can
of
just
it.
stick with 5. I'll just do my
who's your
honorable.
6th?
Captain Spaulding.
Who?
Yes, exactly. So this was another off the radar one. If you ever got into or watched any of the Rob Zombie horror flicks like House of a Thousand Corpses, Captain Spaulding was one of the main bad guys. He's got a little bit of a cult following, and he is a crazy, scary dude. That was my other like off the wall crazy one. But I felt like the Human Centipede. That one is. That one gets people going. It might get a little bit more chatter on Twitter, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I think the one that we're gonna get heat from the most, where they're gonna be like, "Why didn't you pick this guy?" is gonna be Pinhead. He's in the top 10 of every list that I looked at. I just
I had him.
honestly. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I had him there. He would have been a safer pick for me at 5. I had him sitting there. Pinhead is one of those ones that I think you're right. People are gonna be like, "Oh, why didn't you do that?"
Honestly, that's another movie I've never seen. I'm not really into the horror films. I probably haven't watched a horror movie in years, so it's not something that I get really heavily into. You know, most of these movies I watched as a kid, and that's just kind of one of those things like you're over at a friend's house and they dare you to watch it, when really they're scared to watch it too, but they're hoping that you would back out so they can make fun of you, and then you just play this big game of chicken to where you're both watching a movie you don't want to watch.
Yeah. I see. I'm the opposite. I love horror movies. Like I go out of my way. I would have put Santa on here from the Christmas horror movie.
I'm surprised you didn't put Krampus in there.
Krampus, yeah, Krampus.
You were
is another
big on
one.
Krampus last Christmas.
I do like Krampus. I like Krampus. I like the Christmas Horror Story. I like all of those. I'm also the Guts ones. I like the Saw and the House of a Thousand Corpses and Hostel. I can watch those. A lot of people are turned off by the goriness. And then the slasher ones, I think they're a ton of fun. I also had, if we were going to do just movies themselves, one of my favorite horror movies in the modern day is Get Out, that new version of crazy horror. I liked that movie, but you had, It and Shining and Nightmare and Halloween and Friday the 13th. All of these movies are just great movies. Even like Paranormal Activity, Cabin in the Woods. I love all those. It's Halloween, man. You got to enjoy these.
Yeah, well, my 10-year-old son, I can tell when he gets a little bit older, maybe in like 2 or 3 years, he's going to be really into the horror movies. He's already into like horror things. Like he's going to be probably a goth kid as a teenager, I'm assuming. He's just really into just horror type deals. Like he likes horror video games and stuff like that. And I try to keep it his age appropriate. I think Five Nights at Freddy's, that's one of his big deals. I don't know if you know what that is, but he's really into that. And that's kind of like a kid's horror type thing. So I have a feeling we're going to be watching a few of these classics. Another few of my honorable mention is Cujo. Great movie. Scarier Dog. This was on a list, but I don't consider Ghostbusters to be a horror movie. But Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, that would have been an awesome pick.
The shark from Jaws.
Yeah, the shark from Jaws. Norman Bates. Ghostface. And Candyman. Those are my few. Now, Candyman is an actual serial killer from the 1970s. And if you're really into that kind of thing, go ahead and look that stuff up. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah. Ew. That's back when technology wasn't so good, so people could get away with like weird stuff, and nobody would ever know who it was.
Nobody would ever know.
Jack the Ripper.
Yeah, Jack the Ripper. We had the Ring Girl, the Poltergeist, Count Dracula. All the classics. Those would have been safe picks.
Yeah, we could have gone Frankenstein,
Frankenstein,
Wolfman, Swamp
zombies.
Thing. Zombies, yeah. Yeah, those would have been a little too safe, I think. You know what
Mike
else is kind of scary?
McCarthy.
Oh, go ahead. You're
No,
speaking.
Mike
Oh, Mike
McCarthy.
McCarthy. That scares the crap out of me. Okay.
Well, that
go
scares
ahead.
the crap out of Golden Ghost.
Yeah, he's definitely scared of Mike McCarthy. He wants him fired now. He has made it abundantly clear, though he is not on today. We almost had a hat trick from the Golden Ghost, but he ended up coming one short of doing morning shows on Scout Team Sports. And the Golden Ghost was texting us yesterday, and he said, #FireMcCarthy is the only hashtag he really needs to look at right now, and that's the only one that he needs to know.
Hold on, sorry.
Hey, you're blowing up, man.
That's
Hey,
weird.
How's it going, guys? How are you doing today? Hey,
No.
it's me, Chris America. Hey, baby.
Sorry,
Love
guys.
you.
I normally don't get calls, so I didn't
Hey,
know. I
baby.
didn't think to put my phone on silent. I don't know what number that is. That's weird.
It-
Sorry
it's
about
a
that, guys.
spooky-
What were you saying? What were you saying,
spooky.
Loudbeard?
Spooky. Oh, man. Uh-oh. Was that a voicemail?
No, not yet. I don't know. But anyways, what were you
Weird.
saying?
So Mike McCarthy, he's spooky, and he's altogether kooky.
Yeah,
He's the
do you-
Addams
are you
family.
Are you with the Golden Ghost? Do you think Green Bay should fire Mike McCarthy like he wants them to?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to say yeah. I think there needs to be some changes. I'm actually not a big fan of the GM Ted Thompson. I think they need to move on, kind of wholesale changes and just start fresh. They're not the organization to do that. They're more like a Pittsburgh Steelers organization where they stick with their guys, they stick with them through thick and thin, and I like that. That's admirable. But I think the Green Bay Packers with Aaron Rodgers need to capitalize on the greatness that is Aaron Rodgers and try to be a little bit more competitive and be in the Super Bowl conversation every year. Not just, hey, this is going to be a team that makes the playoffs and just doesn't get that far in the playoffs. This needs to be a team that every year we're like, oh my gosh, it's the New England Patriots with Tom Brady. The Aaron Rodgers-led Green Bay Packers should be in that same conversation where you're like, well, we know who's going to win the NFC this year, and they're not. They're not even close to that. And, I mean, it is part of the other areas of the team that are the problem, a lot of defensive deficiencies, like we said, running back. But I have to agree with the Golden Ghost where it might be time to move on from McCarthy. Just let's bring in a fresh coach with fresh ideas and fresh thoughts and see if they can maybe do more with what they have.
Yeah, and I want to see Aaron Rodgers without excuses. Because if there's one thing that bothers me about Aaron Rodgers' career is that he gets a pass. Every single year he will lose in the playoffs, and we just kind of give him a pass. Nobody's sitting here giving him the Kirk Cousins treatment or the Cam Newton treatment. I hear all of these good quarterbacks that put up good stats, and I'm not saying that any of these quarterbacks are as good of a quarterback as Aaron Rodgers. But every single quarterback that doesn't win in the playoffs, we will say, "Oh, well, you didn't win a Super Bowl. You're a bad quarterback." Okay, but why don't you say that about Aaron Rodgers? Why do you give Aaron Rodgers a pass? So I want to see him without the pass. I want to see him with great wide receivers, great running back, and a great coach, and see if he can actually pull it off. I know he's done it once, but so has Joe Flacco. So what else can he do?
Now, if he doesn't win that Super Bowl, is he Phillip Rivers?
You have to say yes. You have to, without a doubt. I mean, he's a good quarterback. I mean, I don't think he's Phillip Rivers. I think he's Dan Marino.
Okay, that would be a great comparison. Now, he did win that one Super Bowl, and that helps him get the pass. And just a side note, Chris America, there was a scary news article that came across me yesterday, and I just have to bring it up, and that is the Buffalo Bills have announced that they are starting Nathan Peterman as their starting quarterback this coming up week.
So they're giving up on the season?
Yeah, they're going high draft pick this year.
Number 1 overall. Hold on, Ludwig. So you know how on your voicemails on your iPhone it kind of gives you like a transcript of it?
Yeah.
So that call left me a transcript voicemail, and it's kind of weird. I'm just going to play it for you guys.
Answer your phone. Chris America, it's me. It's Loudbeard. Chris America, I'm at this haunted house. I can't get out. You need to come get me. Chris America, help me. I'm at the haunted house, Chris America. It's me, Loudbeard.
Loudbeard? What is that all about? No, dude. Okay, seriously, guys. Okay, so if you didn't listen to us last year, we had a Halloween episode. We were at a haunted house and we lost Loudbeard. Now we need to go back to that house. Tune in at 7. We're going to play last year's episode to catch you up. And then, Loudbeard, we got to meet at 7:30. I got to get to the bottom of this. Loudbeard, seriously, are you there? Dude, you're creeping me out, man.